You're very welcome back to the Saturday Connection here on Shannonside Northern Sound. I'm Charlie McGettigan. The telephone number is 0818 22 7777, or you can text us at 087 1200 900. Now, somebody who had lived in your house for the best part of 10 years, in that every Friday night you would see him, but maybe you wouldn't see him, but he'd be there. He was a member of the Camembert Quartet, who were the house band for the Late Late Show for 20 years. And I suppose I could call you the leader of that band, Paddy Cullivan. Lovely to have you with us.
Great to see you. Great to see you, Charlie. Thanks for having me.
We were just talking off air. You did that for 10 years.
Well, funny enough, the Camembert Quartet came together in about 2000.
Yes.
And we did 2 years on radio with Ryan Tubridy. We were just coming in as his kind of band. Then when he got his own show in 2004, Tubridy Tonight, we did 5 years of that.
Yes.
And then when he moved to the Late Late in 2009, we became the house band there. So we've done 15 years, or 17 years actually, with Ryan.
Yeah.
And he didn't bring us to England, but that's fair enough. You know what I mean? You got to strike out on your own. He doesn't need us anymore. But it was a great time. And the band are still going strong. We were just playing last night we do a lot of corporate events and a lot of things like that. So the band are top, always around. CamembertQuartet.com is where you go.
What's the name Camembert? Where did that come from?
I don't know. I think it's because we were doing cheesy versions of songs. So we would take something like Stairway to Heaven and do a Latino version of it. Yeah. And we did a Frank Sinatra version of Anarchy in the UK because I always was annoyed when Sid Vicious covered My Way. So I called it Frank's Revenge. If Frank covered, I am the Antichrist, that type of thing. So we did that whole thing, and that's where we got noticed. So we were doing cheesy versions of songs. So I said, let's call ourselves after a cheese. So we said Camembert Quartet. And then the weirdest thing, there's 5 of us. Yeah. So we're not a quartet, we're a quintet.
They're a bit like the 4 of us. There's only 2 of them.
Well, there's only 2 of them now, yeah. So what I like to say is we're the best 5-piece quartet in the world.
But you must have, I remember when Frank McNamara was there playing piano, and he would, if there was somebody on that was going to sing a song, he'd have to play the piano with them. But you must have accompanied some very well-known international stars when you were there.
We did. I mean, everyone from Billy Ocean to Buddy Greco to Russell Crowe got up famously with us and did Folsom Prison Blues. When we were put up on that horrible thing up above, we used to be down on the ground. Then you put us up in the gods, and he ran up to us and played with us there. And of course, we did a whole show with Sinead O'Connor. We did 6 of her songs, so we've played with everybody. And,
with Sinead,
yeah. So we did a night called One Night Only or something like that, and we love Sinead. We were kind of her backing band for 10 years as well. So we got to play with everybody, and it was lovely. It was just very, very nice.
Sinead O'Connor, a very mysterious person. She had connections seemingly in Arigna. Just up her island. I lived in Drumshanbo, just about 3 miles from Arigna, and she would regularly come into town, into Drumshanbo, to get her groceries or whatever. But she was in a pub called Monica's one, which she just happened to be sitting there, and Monica was sadly no longer with us. Very droll kind of a woman, Monica, and somebody said, do you see that one up there, Monica? Where? And her, do you know who that is? No, that's Sinead O'Connor. Who?
I know,
I always remember Monica for that. She was just people in the country, I think, your place.
Well, as you know, Charlie, everyone has connections to Leitrim, but Leitrim is a different world. It's a different mindset, and it may not have connections to the rest of the world. It may be a place apart.
Yes,
that's how I feel about it. Anyway, I love it. And of course, I think Sinead was a fascinating character. She was a great person.
And when during the show, you obviously would have done rehearsals with her and stuff like that. So what was the real Sinead? Was she just what you saw on the?
She was terribly funny. Oh no, Charlie! I mean, we'd be cracking up laughing.
Yeah,
she was one of the funniest people I ever worked with.
Yeah,
I mean, she would change the lyrics to songs. Like she changed "Nothing Compares to You" to "Nothing Compares to Two," and I don't need to explain what that's about. And she would change all the lyrics to fit that.
Yes.
And she was just very, very funny. No, she was great. She was a great person, and we had great crack with her and everybody that we played with on the show, and then we do the maddest things, like we'd start playing a tune and Peter Kay would walk out and we'd be playing Amarillo, and then he'd get up and sing with us for 5 minutes, and that's 5 minutes gone out of the 15-minute interview, and Ryan would be sitting there waiting, but that's kind of madcap stuff we could have going on. That's why a live band, I think, is important, Charlie.
Oh, absolutely. And you would have a little sig tune for somebody coming on. You'd have to have something that connected to the person. person themselves.
Yes. Now sometimes we snuck in bold ones as well. We do our best.
Put the wrong one.
I think Ryan Giggs' wife was on. The one who had the affair with the two brothers. So I played around with It's a Family Affair.
All right.
And stuff like that. So we'd have good crack with things like that.
How did you get interested in music in the first place?
Well, my dad, Tom Cullivan from Cavan, is a classical composer from Cavan Town.
Right.
And then my mum is a weaver and an artist, and he played accordion in the Eugene Leddy Cayley band in Cavan in the 50s.
Yes.
And they were very popular.
Yeah.
And but then he took Tom Waite's advice, which is a gentleman, is someone who can play the accordion but doesn't. And so he swapped it for piano.
Yes.
And he started writing classical music, and then he kind of kept that going from the 60s right till now.
And where would this classical music, where would people, I never heard this, and I'm in and out of Cavan all the time, and we is he worthy of a programme?
Oh, absolutely. No, sure. Dad's written symphonies, he's written concertos and everything, but he also worked in the real world as well, which is what many musicians have to do.
Yeah.
And so he balanced all of it.
What did he do in the real world?
He worked in education. He worked in the NCEA. He would be responsible for, let's say, getting regional RTCs up to university standards, so that if you do a degree in Letterkenny, it's the same as a Trinity degree. So he basically what would you call, he decentralised education from the top 3 colleges and spread it all around the country, which is a great job.
In your house then, growing up, was music, you were hearing music all the time, obviously. If not traditional music, it would have been suddenly developed into this him writing classical music. Was there obviously there was a piano in the house?
Pianos all over the place, and then so piano was what I started on.
Yeah.
But the weird thing is, like, I did lessons and stuff, but at about 12 I started writing.
Yeah.
And once you start writing music, Charlie, you kind of forget about the lessons or learning other stuff. And
but did you do the grades and all that?
I did got to grade 3 or something. But then my grandfather in America, my mother's American from New Jersey, he had a Spanish guitar sitting on the wall.
Yeah.
And I just took it down one day and I started to play guitar and picking out the notes that I knew corresponded to piano.
Yes.
And so that I started doing that as well. So it was great.
Yeah.
So there's music always in the family and always going on. But the weird thing is, because there was so much classical music, I have a very weird, like, my mother had 4 albums. She had only 4 pop.
Oh, yes.
And I was going, Mom, why do you have only 4 albums? She says, because in the 60s, we used to just give away records. We just swap with our friends.
Or people would borrow it, never see it again.
Or just, so music was a kind of a transactional thing, just hand it to someone at the end of the night.
Yeah.
But so she had 2 Mamas and the Papas albums.
Yeah.
She had Wildflowers by Judy Collins, and she had Booker T and the MG's Green Onions, and that was it.
A fairly eclectic mix.
So I had the pop bit, and then I had the classical bit, and it all kind of fitted in. But I love the Mamas and Papas to this day,
Yeah. So to continue on, then, would you have started little bands around Cavan and stuff like that, or did you continue to grow up in Cavan?
Well, no, Dad's from Cavan. He moved to Galway. My mother came from New Jersey to Galway, and then I was born there.
Yeah.
But then they moved to Dublin and Greystones. So I had bands in Dublin. Greystones is an interesting place. It's the most Protestant Southern Irish town. It's about 5 miles south of Wicklow.
Yes.
Simon Harris is from there.
Right.
So that's why he's like that.
Yeah.
And it's a fascinating place. But I had great friends there. We formed a band there. Then I formed bands when I went to Mount Temple School. I went to the same school as U2.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I always like to say that U2 are the United Irishmen of bands.
Yeah.
And that there's 2 Protestants, a Presbyterian and a Catholic who refuses to move to the south side.
Yeah.
So I had a very eclectic upbringing, eclectic education, and the music was great. So and music was really supported in Mount Temple. But the funny thing is, like, the first time I ever sang a song, I don't know about you, Charlie, but the first time singing in public, I did a song called Wheels of Confusion by Black Sabbath, because it's a very easy song to sing. It's just one riff, it's that's the actual riff.
Yes.
And we were doing that, and I sweated buckets. I was so nervous. I couldn't believe it. But once I went through that trial by fire, I loved it. And of course, my hero was Freddie Mercury and Queen.
My grandson is a huge Queen fan.
Yeah.
And even today, he still comes back to Queen all the time. He's a classical violinist now and does all kinds of classical music, but Queen still sticks out in his mind. I'm going to...
But the weird thing is that, like, I for Queen, like, I meant, as an Irish Republican, I meant to like the Wolf Tones.
Yes.
I can't stand them, Charlie. I'll be quite honest with you now. I much prefer Queen.
Yeah.
And for me, that's where music is. Yeah. And I love that. And Freddie's entertainment entertainment and their playing, their skill, their writing, everything about them. And to this day, I think they're my faves.
Now, you have a show going around the country. Checkers, are you ever going around the country? It's everywhere and anywhere. And it's an interesting show. I can't believe it's not Ireland. Set in 2032, is it?
It is. So what happened was I went to art college and then I went into music, and then in 2016 the decade of centenaries came around. I started doing these one-man shows,
right.
And they were basically Irish history, but with music, with imagery, with comedy and everything. So it's kind of a multi-visual, multimedia thing, but very entertaining.
Yeah.
And after COVID, or during COVID, I had things like the 10 Dark Secrets of 1798 and the 10 Dark Secrets of the Irish Revolution.
Yes.
Then I took one secret from each. So I took The Murder of Michael Collins, which I believe is that became a big hit show.
Yeah.
The Murder of Wolfe Tone. And then, having done Wolfe Tone around the north, I started doing it to meet a lot of Protestants and Presbyterians up there who were talking seriously about the future. Not only getting into learning their own history with the United Irishmen, but they were also talking about, like, what kind of world are we going to live in together?
Yeah.
And it became very optimistic, because the perception we have of Northern Ireland is, if we listen to Stephen Nolan or look at tweets by Jamie Bryson or read the Belfast Telegraph, you think it's 1992.
Yes.
But up there, it's actually a very flourishing, brilliant and engaging place, where people of all communities are talking and living together. Like, I play in Downpatrick, and Downpatrick is meant to be 90% Catholic, but in the bar I play in Denver's, the barman's a Presbyterian. Many of the people who drink together are Protestant Catholics. Yeah. It's a fantastic vibe, and they're always discussing. And I said to myself, I need to do a show about the future, and I need to do a show that isn't about our past or our historical problem. Now, the first half of the show, I Can't Believe It's Not Ireland, does deal with Irish history up to plantation and partition and all the rest. But the second part imagines a new Ireland in the future. Now, it's only, 8 years from now, 2032?
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be that soon.
Yeah.
Where we have a united Ireland. But what is it like? Is it just going to be the 6 counties transplanted onto the tricolour, or do we have a brand new country? I think we'll have a brand new country. And the fun of this show is that I use AI imagery to show you new capital cities. It won't be Longford, sorry to say. But Athlone. It will be Athlone.
Yeah.
And we have high-speed rail, and we have a new flag, and we have a new anthem. I have the new anthem in the show.
Yeah.
I won't play it for you today because I don't want to ruin all the surprises. But it's a really fun, optimistic show. And I think in a world, we're living in a very dark world at the moment. And I want to do something optimistic.
Yeah.
And for us to think and refocus on ourselves, refocus on Ireland, and refocus on what the future will be like together.
Yes. You have the guitar with you.
I do.
And it's still got the price label on the side of it. You bought this in Galway?
I like to remind me of the cost of art, Charlie. I bought it in IT Music in Galway, and it's a beautiful Walden 12-string guitar.
12-string guitar, yeah. It's a monster when I look at it.
It's a monster, yeah. And tuning it is a monster, so I hope I've done it justice.
So I don't know whether you're going to do this song, but you have a lovely song about partition that's up on YouTube.
Yes.
And a partition not just in Ireland but all over the world, and what it does to the countries in different places.
Yes, I think partition is something that it's a 20th century problem, and I think that the 21st century our job should really be to unite everybody as one people all over the world.
Yes.
And that's where I'm going.
Yeah. Is that the one you're going to sing for us?
I'm going to sing for you now.
Oh, good.
If I could go back in time, would you kill Hitler? Okay, that too, but after that I go to London, my friend. Another man I'd find as bad as Hitler. No, but they called him the Welsh Wizard, and he cast a spell that never ends. Hey, Lloyd George, you're out of order. Every time you leave a country, you leave another border. Partition never works out well. From India to Israel, partition never works out fine. From Pakistan to Palestine, can't you see? It's so last century, and we'll never be free till it's done. In 1920, we were the first in line. We didn't even vote, we just woke up one day, divided into 100 years of decline. Then Brexit came along and everybody knew just what we should do. We could be Singapore with a sea border, but somebody said no, now we're less Singapore than Mordor. partition never works out grand. From old Taiwan to Ireland, partition, even Uncle Sam had Korea and Vietnam. Can't you see? It was never meant to be, and we'll never be free till we're one. Do you wanna be the one who tells all the young people that nothing will change? Well, I know that you can change, 'cause you did it before. When circumstances knocked at your door, we can be so much more, 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 more. Yeah. A partition, no partition, no partition, no. Can't you see? It's so 20th century, and we'll never be free till it's one. In century 21, time to wave bye-bye to partition. Woo!
Absolutely. I wondered why the 12-string with that little bridge there. It sounds orchestral.
I want to go for that big Led Zeppelin. Rain song.
Yeah,
you know that time.
You what in that situation you have the idea, about partition, and did you sit down to write a song about? Did it just come into your head? Did the chords come first? The music come first, or what was it?
I don't know, Charlie. I don't know if you're the same, but sometimes I give myself a brief. I used to write to order a lot for different shows like Funny Friday for Joe Duffy, otherwise known as Friday.
Yeah.
When I'm not there. Yeah. And I'm only kidding. Lads. But sometimes you give yourself a brief. So and you
that can be useful, because if you're having a black spot, you can't think of anything.
So creatively, you take the word partition.
Yeah.
So that's. And of course I love ELO and I love the Beatles and I love Queen, so obviously the music comes out like that.
Yes.
But it's funny how sometimes you can write something, like I have another song on the Michael Collins show called Bail na Blah Blah Blah. And it starts with a kind of...
That's kind of funny, but not funny.
Not funny, but it starts with... I basically went to the Beach Boys with Bail na Blah 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 Bail na Blah Blah, like Barbara Ann.
Yeah.
And it's kind of these things kind of... They write themselves in a sense. It was a very funny interview with Leonard Cohen there I was watching, and he was talking about Bob Dylan, and they were both saying, and it's funny, he made this kind of weird elusive thing, which was we know that we're not writing the songs anyway.
Yeah.
So what he's trying to say is something's coming through you and out.
Yeah.
And I think it's you're just the processing plant for the song, which and it may be God, it may be something, but it's some higher power, and it's coming out through you. So a brief, a skill, and just a little bit of... Now, that partition song is exactly 3 minutes long.
Oh, wow. You must have been for the Eurovision.
So I want to enter it in the Eurovision, because, and you got to send me instead of Bambi Tig.
Bambi Tig.
Yeah.
As the thing for Bambi Thugs, Bambi Tig. Tell me about Bambi Tig. Is this a new singer?
No, I like Bambi Tig. I just call her Bambi Tig.
Yeah.
I thought she was brilliant. I'm just saying, there's a part of me... With a song like Partition, what I'm trying to get people to do is to unify and think collectively. It's very difficult in this time when people are backing all sorts of different horses, internationally, nationally, whatever. And it's what I would say to any party that wants to be in power and all the rest of it. Stop being divisive. Stop picking and choosing the people you want to like and the people you don't like. Irish people are pretty much the same all over. We have very little that divides us. We're kind of a conservative island people who likes owning one-off houses, and let's stop pretending we're all going to become green socialists overnight. And let's just try and find common ground, because generally we're pretty cohesive as a bunch.
Yeah.
And what I'm trying to get people to think is, and funny enough, our Protestant neighbours are very much similar to us, and far more similar to us than anybody else.
More Irish.
Yeah. And in fact, in the show, what I try and tell people, I show the 4 times the Protestants changed Irish history.
Yes.
because if the Protestants happen...
We'll just take a little break, and we'll come back to that. And I'm talking to Paddy Cullivan this morning, whose show, I Can't Believe It's Not Ireland, is in the Shannonside Northern Sound region in several different places. It's in Roscommon on the 2nd of October, and it's in Ballinamore. You're going to love Ballinamore. County Leitrim, lovely island theatre there. Galway, I know that Joe from Roscommon listens in Galway, so Joe, if you're listening, you're going to love this show because it's music and comedy and all kinds of stuff like that. And you're going to be in London as well, but we'll talk about that after.
And Manor Hamilton, October 16th.
Oh, the Glens.
Did you see Johnny there? He looked as happy as
a pig in...
No, happier.
As happy as a Windsor Motors customer?
That's the one. He was driving off in a nearly new Dacia Sandero from only $13,995.
What?
Pay a visit to Windsor Motors and you too can be as happy as a Windsor Motors customer. Windsor. Drive happy.
Clean M. Sheridan Granard, serving a diverse range of clients from individuals to businesses. CMS Solicitors has catered to varied legal needs effectively and meticulously, delivering optimal results for our clients. Clean M. Sheridan Granard, cmssolicitors.com.
The Clash of the Ash, the Thundering Shoulder, the Forearm Smash, the Immovable Boulder, the 3-Point Hero, the Potting Machine, the Clocks Run Down to Zero, the Victory Scene. Join Kevin McDermott as he races through the local, national and international sporting world. Monday evenings between 8 and 9 on Shannonside Northern Sound.
Windows?
Doors.
Larkins.
Larkins.
Larkins. So it has to be Larkins for all your windows and doors. Large range of windows and doors in our new showroom. Larkin Windows and Doors, Balnamuck, County Longford. Call 043 33 24047.
Sometimes looking for skincare and laser treatments is harder than it sounds. You can Google it and you'll get 1,001 skincare and laser treatment clinics. You can go on social media and 1,000 people will give you another 1,000 businesses you should be aware of. Or you can check the Shannonside Local Business Directory. It's supporting local businesses you can trust. To find the business you need right on your doorstep. For example, search for skin and laser treatments in Roscommon and Longford and you'll find Eden Skin and Laser Clinic. Links to their website and social media platforms. The Shannonside Local Online Business Directory. Come on, give it a try. Go to shannonside.ie/directory.
You're very welcome back to the Saturday Connection. We're just talking about some of the places that Paddy Cullivan is going to be playing with I Can't Believe It's Not Ireland. Mullingar is done.
That's done.
Yeah.
But Roscommon next Wednesday, October 2nd.
Yeah.
Ballinamore, October 4th. It's a Friday. I love the Island Theatre. It's a fantastic place. And then Manor Hamilton on the 16th. But go to paddycullivan.com and you'll find my shows everywhere. So if you can't make any of them, make the stretch. I'm doing the Town Hall Theatre Galway too. But
we have listeners there.
I book a lot. I generally must do about 10 shows a month.
What's it like now when you're taking this show to say let's play the Roscommon Arts Centre in Roscommon of all places? But anyway, you arrive. Have you a set or do you?
No,
slides
it's a one-man show. I bring a laptop and I bring my guitar, and you're going to see 300 images on screen. You're going to see comedy, film, music, and then me telling you a story.
Yes.
And but you'll laugh. But I think the weirdest thing is I've done it in Belfast, I've done it everywhere, and I took a few audience response things, and what everyone was saying is that at the end of the show, they haven't just laughed and had a great time, but they feel hopeful.
Yeah.
And I think the one thing I really want people to feel is hopeful, because we're living in a very dodgy time at the moment. I want people to go away going, you know something, the world's going to be all right, and we're going to be all right, and we're going to make a great island.
Yeah.
And that's really what I want. But the funny thing is, Charlie, and I know this is mad, and I'm probably talking myself out of a gig, but it's harder to sell this optimistic show about the future than it is to sell miserable shows about the past, about Michael Collins and Wolf Tone. Now, it might be the fact that, Michael Collins looked like a film star and people like to see him on screen. But to be honest, I really want people to see this show. There's a lot of history in it. The same kind of thing I do in my other shows is in it. But when I project into the future, that's when it gets really interesting.
Yeah. When did you get interested in history? Did you do a degree in history or?
Well, I did art history in NCAD. So if you study art history, you've really studied the history of the world anyway, because art recorded all of that. And I did graphic design. So all my design elements, all the artistic elements come into this show as well. Right. But no, history, I think, it's very funny. I've been accused by some people of being an amateur historian, and I think the worst thing I could possibly do is get a history degree, because then I'd start repeating the same old lies that historians do.
Well, I always think our when we were taught history, and the Civil War was totally ignored. I didn't really know anything about it until the anniversary came up.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, I think everybody's a historian, because once you start reading after college or school and you start getting into stuff, you become an expert in things as you research them. And I did a lot of research over COVID. I mean, the one thing about this show that I really want to get across to people is it's a show that Protestants in East Belfast could come and see and go, wow, it's been really fair there.
Yeah.
Because like I say, this show is effectively, it's a tribute to the Protestant influence in Ireland, that not only are patriots like Wolfe Tone, Robert Emmet, Thomas Davis, Charles Stewart Parnell, Douglas Hyde, all Protestant, but also the Enlightenment influence, and even their own pragmatic way of changing their minds when they needed to, from being anti-unionist to pro-unionist to being anti-home rule to pro-home rule. They're an interesting bunch.
Yeah,
and I don't think Ireland would have advanced without the Protestant influence. So in this show, I'm fair to them, and I take their concerns and their ideas on board.
Yes.
And it makes it a much more interesting show, I think.
I did a show, not so much a show, but a kind of a seminar in an Orange Hall in Cootehill about maybe 10, 15 years ago. And there were people from all sections, cross-border kind of thing. And there was a fellow called Quincy Doogan, who was a drummer in an Orange band. And he was there. And I had to sort of talk about when I was growing up and the relationships we had with Protestants. There were loads of Protestants in our town in Ballyshannon. And I said, we got on great. We went to the races. We were drama society, badminton, everything got on great. And Quincy said, but that's not true. That could not have happened. So I said, I'll tell you, Quincy, it did happen. How are you going to do that? And I said, I sang the Session Powdermore, which we used to sing in Bundoran 7 nights a week. And I never really knew what it was about, but I just knew it was a great song for getting people singing along. And then we did that till 1968. 69 happened, and suddenly you couldn't even dream of saying that.
No. And I think what I'm trying to do with this is trying to peel away the identity politics we've grown up with, like even the tricolour itself, which I know people feel very fondly. But I think when you divide Ireland into green and orange, you're limiting yourself.
Yes.
I believe in what Wolfe Tone said, which is we are united as one people under the common name of Irishmen, getting rid of the distinctions of Protestant, Catholic and dissenter. Yeah. And I think his message to this day is the greatest. An Irish Protestant himself with a Catholic mom from Dundalk, Wolfe Tone, who knew that the only way forward is to unite and to be one people.
Yeah.
And so I've thought about this very carefully. I've used real research as well, proper research by Brendan O'Leary in the show, to actually see how we get there and all of that. And it's good crack too. Like I'm sounding very serious now, but we also have to decide on very meaty issues as well, Charlie, like which Tato do we select for the New Ireland? Is it the horrible yellow one from the north or Free Stato? Yeah. And I think we all know the Free Stato is superior.
Yes.
But, I mean, I made that argument in Belfast.
Yeah.
And the whole audience, a lot of the audience were kind of Sinn Féin nationalists, and they were roaring at me.
Yeah.
We want our yellow Tato.
Yeah.
I was going, lads, you're going to have to give up something.
Well, you see, when I was growing up in the north, we lived right beside the border in Ballyshannon. Yeah. And the north meant to us magazines with naked ladies and Mars bars and things that you couldn't get down here. And we regularly went across the border and smuggled over and back. There was one particular fella, he worked in the power station in Ballyshannon, but he lived in Balleek. And he was going over and back, and eventually his retirement came, and the customs men, it was always customs men and stopping people. And he said, I often wondered, what you were, I knew you were smuggling something. What was it? He says, bicycles.
But it's funny, again, this influence, it's like I was talking to a good friend of mine. She's an archaeologist in County Down.
Yeah.
And I was saying, in Sligo, there's a place called Abbey Quarter North, and they built a housing estate in 1940, and in the middle of the roundabout, it's a stone circle from 5,000 years ago. They just incorporated it into the roundabout in a housing estate.
Yes.
And she goes, well, it's Presbyterians and Protestants like me who were saving ancient Celtic sites and Neolithic sites in the north.
Yes.
They might have all been turned into roundabouts. Yeah. So there's a very good influence of the Ulster Protestant. And as well, Douglas Hyde saved the Irish language. I mean, these are the guys who are more careful about Ireland than we are sometimes, or those who perceive themselves to be Irish.
I have to take another break, and I want to get another song as well.
Absolutely.
So we'll be back with more after this.
There's only one thing as good as a TUI holiday, and that's looking forward to one. So get next summer sorted and secure your TUI holiday today with thousands of free child places, even in the school summer holidays. And if you book before September 30th, you can avail of extra savings on your favourites, like holiday villages, Splash World Resorts, and our own TUI Blue hotels. Secure now with a low booking deposit of only €25 per person. That's next summer's holiday sorted. TUI, live happy. Offer T's and C's apply.
My name is Liam Tierney. I have worked in the area of mental health as a psychiatric nurse for many years. Many know me from my involvement with Longford GEA and Shannonside. I've just completed Let's Talk About Suicide, a free online suicide prevention training program from the HSE to learn how to have a safe conversation about suicide, and you can too. Visit hse.ie/Let's Talk to take part.
I can't stop myself, Doctor. I'm just a weak man. But it feels so good. It's so easy and quick. Ever since I discovered Chadwick's online, it's been a game changer. Chadwick's do everything. I started ordering a few tools to fix a few jobs around the house, but that wasn't enough. I ordered more from Chadwick's. The jobs got bigger, the tools got stronger. My kitchen's like a workshop and I'm halfway through and not the conversion. I need help, Doctor. Because it's a two-man job. Will you give us a hand? Shop online now at chadwicks.ie. Click, search, done.
Oh, would you look at the weather? I think we're going to be stuck inside for another day again.
Well, at least we'll be warm, thanks to Shannonside.
All next week, The Breakfast Show has teamed up with Carboil to help you keep warm this winter. To celebrate the launch of their brand new Carboil website and mobile app, they have given us 4 €100 vouchers and 1 €200 voucher to give away all week. To enter, simply tune into The Breakfast Show and remember to download the new Carboil app. All those points count.
Penultimate race meeting at Roscommon, Monday 30th of September 2024. First race 2:10 p.m, last race 5:45 p.m. Top class national hunt racing. Free bets on race card competition. Come for the racing, stay for the crack. 10% discount on admission prices when purchased online. Cash and card payments accepted at the gate.
You're very welcome back to the Saturday Connection. I'm having great fun here with Paddy Cullivan and still part of the Camembert Quartet. Yeah,
going strong.
Are you doing any gigs that people would know about?
Well, I mean, we every year at the Cork Jazz Festival we do Barry's of Douglas. Now I know it's not in your remit, but it's a fabulous venue in Douglas, and the band just goes on. We play to a wild crowd. We love it, you know. So we have regular gigs that we do around the country, but not that much public. We do a lot of private corporate work, and that's really where we're at, you know.
Yeah, and I did it like a well-oiled machine. You don't really have to rehearse and just sort of everybody arrives. And
and sometimes we just surprise each other.
Yeah.
As they say.
Now this show, I can't believe it's not Ireland. As I said, our nearest one to you is the Roscommon Arts Centre, which to me is one of the best art centres in the country.
I love it. Yeah.
And that's going to be on the 2nd of October, and then on the 4th of October you're in the Island Theatre. Now, Island Theatre is just a very new theatre, you know.
It's fantastic. And Des there, he brought me in. We did the Murder of Michael Collins, had a sellout show. I have a lot of friends living around the area and in Ballinamore, and beautiful theatre. So, but I really would love people to support this show. I know it's a hard sell, but
not by the way you've described it this morning.
I know, but I really want people, because I think people just need to come along and just lose it for 2 hours and enjoy themselves and come away with a bit of hope and
that's
optimism.
What the theatre's about. We did
and I love the Glens. I mean, I love Manor Hamilton as well. You know?
You've probably been going there for years like we have, you know, and that it's in my, you know, if I'm going to something, I go to the Glens or the Dock in Carrigan-Shannon, another great place for you. And I love the theatre there. It's a long time there, but it's a small theatre, 117 seats, and I love those places. I love playing those places because the audience is 2 feet away from you. And you know, you almost feel part of the audience, and they almost feel part of the band.
Well, I think one really important thing as well is, if Bruce Springsteen decides to do one more tour, I'll be protesting. I'll be down with a placard, because here's my problem. I think I did the show down in Cork and I only got 30 people. The first night was sold out, the second night was 30, and I said, what happened? He says, oh, Bruce is playing in the park. And
but they're hoovering up all the money.
No, but this is what I'm saying. So when Oasis reform or Taylor Swift comes to town, they're charging 600, 800 quid a ticket. That's most people's yearly budget for arts.
I know, it's crazy.
What I try and say to people is, try and split it up and try and support the local theatres and local art, because it's very, very important. I'm finding that people are making the decision on the day to go to a show.
Yeah, sometimes you're hoping they will.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean. But like I'll sell 2/3 of the tickets, and then I go, okay, that's who's coming, and then that evening I'll sell another third.
Yeah.
So I just people keep in mind that you need to support your local. These art centres are incredible. The sound is incredible. The lighting is incredible. It's one of the great side benefits of the Celtic
Michael
Tiger.
D, I think, was the man responsible for a lot of those places.
Very much, yeah. And I mean, I from the Ballard and Ballybuffet, places that I really love playing, and the Glens, of course, I love. So and Roscommon, I love dearly, because in the quiet moments I can hear the cows lowing. In the march across the
road. Look, we've time for one more song.
Okay.
And I want to say before you do, thanks a million, Paddy, for coming in.
Thank you.
Just a joy to meet you again, and I wish you every luck in the tour.
Thanks.
What are you
so
going
much.
to sing for us?
I'm going to sing a song called "Safe Pair of Hands." It's from the Michael Collins Show.
Okay.
It's about the leaderships of this country, and go to paddycullivan.com for all my efforts. Thank you very much. What is it about leaders in this country? Why do they wind up useless or just dead? We've had 5,000 years of those obsessed with their careers instead of how the Irish should be led. Queen Maeve and all the kings were greedy hoarders, while Cuchulainn and the boys, they fought and bled. The only one with fight who wanted Ireland to unite ended up with an axe stuck in his head. That's Brian Boru to you. In Ireland now the story is no different. The absolutely worst rise to the top, and because they're surrounded by the worst themselves, no one even feels like shouting, "Stop!" What is it that defines these awful people that somehow gained the right to lead this land? We voted for them. The good ones die too young, while the bad ones die in bed. And when they die in bed, what is the thing that's often said? He was a safe pair of hands. He's a safe pair of hands. Sing it, Charlie. Safe pair of hands. He really has no talent all his life. He's been quite bland. He's a safe pair of hands. He's a safe pair of hands. Safe pair of hands. Always told since time eternal, sure lads, it's grand. He's a safe pair of hands. He's a safe pair of hands. Safe pair of hands. He'd sell a natural resource for a measly 50 grand. He's never suffered hardship or the cold assassin's hand. He's a safe pair of hands.